Good afternoon. My name is Phil Rosentrater. I'm the External Affairs Director for Western Municipal Water District. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us. We're including special districts, the third leg of legitimate local government in the state of California. It was abundantly clear to me years ago in my own area, in West Riverside County, when the CAWGS, the West Riverside Council of Government, was meeting with the cities and the counties, that their moniker, as the voice of regional voice for local government, was missing a key local government voice, the special districts. We approached them and said, look, we're an entity along with our sister agency, Eastern Municipal Water District, who almost exactly overlay the boundaries of the county and the 14 cities at that time that comprised that CAWG. Shouldn't we be working together to more effectively, more efficiently manage the policies that intersect with water resource management and land use planning? It took about 4 years to finally get that JPA to come around and accept, yes, we're all better off if we do that. One of the outcomes of that cooperative venture has been one of the largest, the first and largest, regionally coordinated, consistent outdoor landscape ordinance in California. This gives consistency from one land use jurisdiction to the next for the development community to implement a water use efficiency landscape program that makes sense, and it's not a patchwork quilt. It makes it difficult to oversee and implement. This is good for the consumers, it's good for the water agencies, it's good for the land use agencies. It's an example of the kind of cooperative venture that Western has engaged in from the get-go. Our agency began in 1954. We're a Met member agency. The question was raised, how do you take on Met? My advice is don't. It's just not or at least understand, if you're going to reform something, understand first that it needs reform and approach it with the proper reform. If something's not broken, don't fix it. Maybe it's not appropriate in some situations to make a fix. We would go back to the beginning of our agency, and we have a very similar founding premise from California forward. California is very interested in a prosperous and environmentally sustainable economy that provides equal opportunities for all. Well, that reads almost directly out of Western's mission statement. We do the same thing, we're dedicated to the same thing, on the premise that a safe and reliable water supply is the foundation in our semi-arid region for anything that's going to live. And that includes a living, breathing, prosperous economy and environment. We began as an importing water agency that imports water from outside. Well, those days are coming to a very complicated close as we realize there are limits to how much can be done in that area. And there are new opportunities within our own region, within our watershed, to identify local resources that previously have not been used to their highest and best use. Recycled water, stormwater capture, flood water, groundwater cleanup. In Western's case, almost all of these sources lie outside of our strict service boundaries. So we have gone up and down the watershed. We're located right in the middle of the Santa Ana watershed, the inventors of a term called Integrated Regional Watershed Management. We have a need to implement cooperative planning with other water agencies, other land use agencies, county flood control, federal agencies, Army Corps of Engineers. The list goes on and on. The concept here is efficient use of existing resources to stabilize a watershed that otherwise is going to be dependent upon imported sources that impact everyone else in the state. So how do we get past that? A responsible special district, and there are many of those, will approach the other land use agencies, approach the other water use agencies, will approach the, as I said, the county flood control folks, and begin to integrate planning. That's exactly what we've done through the years. We've moved from an agency that simply imported water from somewhere else to augment the local supply because it was found to be inadequate. And we have expanded into regional collaborative efforts with the stormwater capture. But it's taken us 20 years working with 17 other agencies up and down the river to establish the largest new water right in the state of California for new capture supply. The largest since the State Water Project, 200,000 acre feet. As I said, it took 20 years, and it took a lot of diplomatic work up and down the river. But when we showed up at the State Water Resource Control Board, and they asked for the opponents to the water right application, no one stood forward. Instead, we presented them with an accord signed by every water right holder downstream. Their jaws hit the table, and eventually they approved us. That's the kind of cooperation that we're dedicated to as a special district. And it simply wouldn't have happened if we waited for some other entity to come along and say, thou shalt collaborate. In fact, we're going to mandate collaboration. No, we can't wait. We haven't waited for that collaboration for our area, for our region, for our watershed. We're not afraid of regional collaboration. We understand it's absolutely necessary. It's the sort of thing we do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. We've been dedicated to it for years in our work with the local COG, with our other entities within the watershed. It's called the Santa Ana Watershed Project Authority. We're looking for those opportunities. At the same time, we are assiduously avoiding being pressed into a consolidation of other entities with whom we could simply integrate and work more efficiently. I'd be happy to talk to you more about this. We have many more examples we'd like to talk about, including the nation's largest multi-species habitat conservation plan, which overlies our area, which we're intricately involved in. But I'll yield the rest of my time to Amber, I think.
Thanks, Phil. You used a really important word, the integration.